Well, and I think that this bifurcation of America, or whatever we're experiencing right now, from what you're saying, it seems like you see this bifurcation continuing and perhaps even growing as in the years to come.
Well, listen, like everybody, I have my own political opinions, but politics is not my area of expertise. So I'll leave that to others. Over a beer, I'm happy to share my political opinions. But in this kind of forum, I try to stick to the law. I will tell people that as politicized as these kind of cases are now, and as high a risk as there is of even a completely legally meritorious use of force case being dragged to trial, despite the legal merits of that self-defense use of force, the most important thing people like us can do for ourselves is, one, make sure you can win the fight. Right? As you guys say at AWS, the fight's coming. Are you ready? Make sure you can win the physical fight, because if you can't do that, the rest doesn't matter. But once you've done that, make sure you know where those legal boundaries, folks, are, because the worst thing you can do for yourself is use force, even with the best of intentions, 1 foot outside those legal boundaries. Because if you're facing a politically motivated prosecution, they're going to lie and they're going to fabricate and they may hide evidence. There's all kinds of things they can do, but they don't need to do any of that if your use of force was actually unlawful. If you don't know where the legal boundaries are and you stepped 1 foot over, you just handed them your life. Because remember, when you claim self-defense, you're not saying it wasn't me, I didn't do it, I was someplace else, I have an alibi. You're saying I did it, I shot that guy, but I did it in lawful self-defense. And then it turns out you failed to check one of the boxes for lawful self-defense. That's just a confession now. So you don't really need to do anything differently when you're facing a political prosecution than a traditional prosecution in terms of the legal aspects. If anything, it's all the more important that you don't hand them an easy win. You need to make yourself as hard a prosecution as possible. If you're a hard prosecution, the chances of getting brought to trial by a traditional prosecutor is almost zero, because they like almost guaranteed wins in court. They don't like to take cases to court where the prospects of winning are less than 90%. Now, if you're dealing with a politically motivated prosecutor, they'll take you to trial anyway. They don't care about the legal merits. But still, once you get in trial, the only thing that's going to save you is that your use of force was within the legal boundaries. That's it. You have to have that, because if you don't have that, you're done. So again, I would just urge folks, at least have a foundational understanding of these legal boundaries. Folks, there's not 500 things you need to know about the law of self-defense. There's not even 50. There's only 5. Sometimes not even 5. Sometimes it's fewer than that. 5 elements of a claim of self-defense is the most. Please learn what they are, because most people who get in trouble on self-defense claims, the kind of cases I work on, not bad guy cases of self-defense, but good guy cases of self-defense. Most of those cases that I work on, they're not politically motivated. They're cases you've never heard of. These are normal, law-abiding people who've never been in trouble with the law a day in their lives, felt threatened, pulled a gun. Typically, they didn't fire a shot. Nobody was hurt. But you pull a gun on someone, that's aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, unless you can justify it as self-defense. And most of the time, they're being charged and prosecuted because the prosecutor perceives a weakness in one of those 5 elements that they need. Don't do that to yourself. The defendant did that to himself. He conducted himself in a way that made him look vulnerable to successful prosecution. You don't want to be that person. You want to look like you're hard to convict because you're so far inside the legal boundaries. And you can do that and still decisively defend yourself and your family. So don't rely on hope or the goodwill of a prosecutor, because that can happen, but you're just putting your life in the hands of other people whose interests may not be aligned with your interests. Make sure you know what the law of self-defense actually is. And of course, a great way to start that is get our book for free, lawofselfdefense.com/free book. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. If you're not willing to do that and spend a little bit of time, 3 hours reading through it, well, I mean, good luck. And when you get charged, I guess, call my office.